It's that time of year when everyone's thinking about growth. But instead of just setting the same old goals, let's try something a little different. Today, we're going to take the rules of scalable system design and apply them to you. Yeah, to you. Let's get into it.
So, who here is planning to just absolutely crush it this year? 10x your productivity, your output, your impact. It's an awesome ambition, right? It's the kind of goal that gets you super fired up on January 1st. But there's a catch, and it's a big one.
In this slide, this is the heart of the whole thing. If you just throw more traffic, or in our case more work, at a system that hasn't been upgraded, you get one result: a crash. The whole just work harder strategy, that's not a recipe for a breakthrough. It's a direct flight to burnout.
So here's the way to think about it, and this is what makes it all click. Think of yourself as a single computer, a single node. You can't just spin up another copy of you when things get busy, right? You've got a fixed amount of processing power, that's your CPU, the hours in your day, and you've got a finite amount of memory, or RAM, which is your mental and emotional energy.
Okay, so if we can't add more servers, more of us, what's the move? Well, that brings us to our very first principle, vertical scaling. This isn't about doing more work. It's about becoming capable of handling more. Period.
Let's really break this down. On the left, you've got the default approach, the trap most of us fall into, trying to scale horizontally. Just add more hours, skip some sleep. We all know where that leads: burnout. But on the right, we've got vertical scaling. This is all about upgrading your own personal hardware and software, improving your skills, your systems, so you can handle way more complex stuff with the exact same amount of effort.
So how do you actually do this? Well, you upgrade your CPU by learning new mental models, new ways of thinking that solve problems faster. You optimize your code by taking a hard look at your daily workflows and streamlining them. See, the goal isn't just to do more stuff. It's to do higher value, more impactful work with the time and energy you already have.
All right, principle number 2. Once you've started to increase your capacity, you have to protect it. You absolutely have to. And this is where rate limiting comes in, which is really just a fancy system design term for learning how and when to say no. I want you to think of your ability to do that deep, focused work as your system's main thread. It is incredibly powerful, but it's also incredibly expensive to run. Every single quick question, every meeting that could have been an email, that's an interruption that hijacks those precious resources and grinds the important stuff to a halt.
And this quote, wow, it just says it all, doesn't it? If your system, that is, you, says yes to every single thing that comes your way, you're not being helpful. You are literally designing yourself for a personal DDoS attack, where your own productivity just gets overwhelmed and inevitably crashes.
So what's the fix? You've got to start thinking like a well-designed API. When a request comes in that just doesn't line up with your core goals for the week, for the quarter, you politely return a 429. Too many requests. It's not personal, it's not rude, it's just good system architecture. Okay, so you're scaling up, you're protecting your focus. The next logical step is to intelligently manage the requests you do decide to accept. And this is where load balancing comes in, or as we know it, the art of effective delegation. I want you to ask yourself this and be really honest. Are you the bottleneck in your own life? Are you trying to handle every single task yourself, from the tiny stuff to the really complex work? Because if a single server tried to do everything, it would just grind to a halt. And guess what? So will you. Here's a super simple algorithm, a little piece of code you can run in your head. When a request comes in, you ask one question: does this require my unique high-level skills? If the answer is no, then your job is to be the load balancer. Route that request to the right place. Delegate it, automate it, or maybe even just delete it. You only handle the tasks that truly require you. And this applies absolutely everywhere. At work, it means trusting your teammates, empowering them with tasks that'll help them grow. And at home, it means automating your bill payments, splitting chores with your partner, or maybe hiring some help if you can swing it. The goal is always the same: free up your main processor for the work that only you can do. And that brings us to our final and maybe the most critical principle of all: high availability. This is all about making sure your system is actually online and ready to perform. In human terms, it means you have to prioritize rest. I mean, just look at this contrast. It's kind of wild, right? In the tech world, we aim for 5 nines. That's 99.999% uptime for our services. Anything less is a crisis. And yet, how often do we just accept running ourselves at, 50% capacity? Feeling tired, foggy, burned out, and we just call that a normal Tuesday? Let's just be blunt here, because this quote says everything you need to know.
Pushing yourself past your absolute limits for some short-term gain is a losing game every single time. A system that is crashed delivers zero value. And the ultimate price of ignoring maintenance is a total unscheduled shutdown.
So the key is to totally reframe how you think about rest. Sleep, downtime. This is not wasted time. This is critical system maintenance. This is when your brain is running its garbage collection and disk defragmentation. Skipping this doesn't save you time. It just builds up technical debt that will eventually crash the whole system.
So as we start to wrap this up, the message is hopefully crystal clear. If you want to handle more in your life, more responsibility, more impact, more of anything, you can't just keep running your engine hotter. You have to design a better, more resilient architecture for yourself.
And here they are, your 4 commands for building that resilient self. Number 1, scale vertically by upgrading your skills. 2, rate limit by ruthlessly protecting your time and focus. 3, load balance by delegating effectively. And 4, keep your uptime high by prioritizing rest.
So I'll leave you with this one question. As you move forward this year, the question isn't just what do I want to achieve? It's how am I architecting the system, the person who is going to achieve it? So are you just setting goals, or are you actually designing your system for success?